Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're holding in Zevachim Daf Lamed Ches. We got to the top of Amud Aleph, fifth line from the top. And the word it starts, the end of the line starts with the word Vetano. And the next line is Maisi. Tano Maisi lo me'ochel. Meaning, the Tano learns it from here. What is from here? Meaning, the Tano who says, we are trying to learn that if you do Zrika Achas, one Zrika, one throw, that's good enough. What's the source for it? So the word brought before the kindness, the Sheish, Arba, you do the Cheshbon. So now the word says, you learn from the following. Vechiper. It says Vechiper 3 different times. The Pesukim are Vechiper l'akor mechatos v'yislach loi. It says Vechiper l'akor v'yislach loi. And then it says Vechiper all of akoyin al chatos shechatov v'yislach loi. So 3 times it says Vechiper. Now what do you want to tell me why it says Vechiper 3 times? So Gemara explains Mipnei Hadim, meaning you would want to use a din. This is usually in Kavachayim or Limud you can learn on your own. Shechol v'aladinu, what will be the din? It says domim below chutasikru, which means the bottom part of the mizbech, and then domim lemalo, the top part of the mizbech. Mata domim amur lemato shenos maton achas kiper. If you do one matono for the below the chutasikru, which means all the blood below, one application is good enough. How do you know the one application is good enough? So if you remember, that's the previous daf. Because the Gemara wanted to learn it from Dan Zevachim Yishavach. The whole discussion of the Gemara in the previous daf was, can you learn from Dan Zevachim Yishavach or not? And the Gemara may have brought another way to learn it from. The Gemara was saying maybe you can learn it from Chatos. But now the Gemara is going with the assumption that we learned in like the previous daf, Dan Zevachim Yishavach. That's what Rashi says over here clearly. So you learn from Dan Zevachim Yishavach. So I know that any other karbanis, one zrika is good enough. So now, so when it says domim by chatos, shenos le'matrachas keeper, you learn more from each other. I'm learning from other karbanis. Oy klachta derech maybe not. Nemur domim b'frim, nemur domim b'chutz. You have domim that are done inside the heichol. Right, you go do chatoris aprimiyos that are done on the mizbeach aprimi, and you have chator da'ana done outside. Ma domim ha'amurim b'frim chiser achaz mikol matonos lo yosov leklum. In the inside, if you're missing one matana, you have nothing. Why? Because that's exercise kosov. That the chatoris aprimiyos require all of them. So then is of domim murim b'chutz chiser achaz mikol matonos lo yosov leklum. So also by outside be the same thing. Meaning the shaila is, what are we learning from? Are we learning chatos inside? The chatos outside, chatos inside? Or chatos outside for karbanos outside? Says the one, let's see what it's similar to. Let's learn outside from outside. Or klachel derzu. Dorim chatos v'arba karnos v'chatos v'arba karnos. V'al yochiach chutz she'en chatos v'arba karnos. I want to go in chatos and chatos. And the one that requires 4 different horns. I don't want to learn from chatos and something else. Says the Gemara, now we go back to the pasuk. So until now we tried to do it on our own. That's valodinu. Let's try on our own to figure it out. We can't. That's it, the chiper 3 times. The first keeper tells you, I'll be shalom natzan el shalish. Second, the keeper tells you, I'll be shalom natzan el shtayim. The third v'chiper is I'll be shalom natzan el achas. 3 extra v'chipers to tell you that even if I'm missing one of the zrikas, I'm okay as long as I have one matana. That's what the chipper tells you. What we needed, legufe. What do we need legufe? I need to tell you there's a kapara. Right? I want to tell you that the kapara itself. In mechaper lechet. Mari asberli. Meaning, we are telling you that the extra v'kiper is to tell you that you don't need to do 4, 3, 2, 1. Each v'kiper. So the one is going to tell you that it gives you kapara.
third one? Or
No, I mean at least one.
And what are the other ones?
So maybe let's two. I want to tell you, eat all three.
All three are equal good.
Yeah, maybe all three of it.
One is the.
Can you learn for one?
One is the.
Can you learn one from each other? Maybe yes, maybe not. But I don't have three extra ones. I have maybe two, maybe one, maybe none.
Rashi is straight up.
Right, exactly. Says the Gemara, Omar Ado, Omar Rovavam, Ado, Mari Asberli. What explain to me? Omar Kro, V'chiper v'nislach, Zoi kaporo, Zoi slichu. Meaning that the pasuk, the first pasuk we mentioned, it says V'chiper l'vakoyim mechatosoi v'nislach loi. So I don't have to say V'chiper v'nislach. Meaning the more says maybe tell you V'chiper until you have kapara. So I already have an islach. I don't have to have both. Every one of these psukim it says V'chiper l'vakoyim mechatosoi v'nislach loi. This
assumes the kapara and slicha are the same thing.
For this purpose, yeah.
But I mean, is that really?
Meaning that he rectifies the sin.
One is like a forgiveness. One is like it wipes it out. Like there's two things. They're not accomplishing the same thing.
I hear. I mean, for the purpose of what we need, I don't need an extra word to tell me that it works because if it doesn't nislach lo, I know.
Generally, they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's an extra word.
So he said, okay. So says the Gemara, Aim of Yechiper Abishaloi Nasan Shosh Lamalo Vachas Lamato. So the Gemara says, okay, I have three extra keepers. So what is the three extra keepers? You have to have four matanos, one keeper, I need only three. One keeper, I need only two. One keeper, I need only one. So 1 second. Who said? Maybe he's coming to tell you something else. What? Says the Gemara, Aim of Yechiper Abishaloi Nasan Ela Shosh Lamalo. Where do you have to do the 4 matanos of chatos? On the top of the mizbech. All 4 go on the horns of the mizbech. So maybe it's going to tell you, even if you didn't do all 4 in the horns, maybe you could do it on the. If you did 3 horns and 1 below, it should be good enough. Maybe tell you that I could do 2 up, 2 down. Or maybe it's going to tell you that if you didn't do it up, you did all 4 of them down, not 4 and not up. Now here it comes to you and says, 1 second, you skipped a stage. You said 1 keeper, 3 and 1. 1 keeper, 2 and 2. 1 keeper, all 4. Why don't you say 1 and 3? So he says, what is the matana that you do in the bottom of the mizbech? So as we mentioned yesterday in the beginning of the Mishnah, when you're talking about chatos, you have 1 matana on every corner. You really do it with a finger. On the corners, there's 4 horns in the mizbech, and you do in each corner, you do 1 application. But the other karbanis, you do what's called shtayim shemarba. They throw the blood on the 2 walls. That's 1. Then you throw the walls on the opposite 2 walls. So you hit these 2 walls with one zrika, and in this 2 corner you hit 2 walls and 1 zrika. It's called shtayim shemarba. It's 2 matanas that are really 4. So I don't have 4 separate ones. I have 2. Each one is double. So sometimes I can't tell you to do below 1 above, 3 below. What's 3 below? 3 below is 4, because 2 is to get. The way you do below is you do the corner. So 1 below is 2. The other one below is 4. Because every one is double. So sometimes that's like one jumps. We know you have to do all 4 above. So what happens? You did 3 above and 1 did below, which is really 2. But you did 3.
What is 3 above? What is 3 above?
No, 3 above is 3 separate ones. You did 1. You did on the corners. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. The last one you did the bottom and you double it. Okay. But I mean, I already had the 3 above. Then the chiddush is I did 2 above.
So what's up 1 and 3?
No, but 1 and 3. What are you adding with the 1 and 3? Your 1 and 3 is what's the third one?
The same way it's 3 and 1. It's 1 and 3.
No, but 3 is above. Look, this is the difference.
No, that's in the first case. But in the
yes.
First case, 1 would be above.
Yeah.
Okay. The one above is hitting 2 corners. That's 2.
No, above you don't hit 2 corners. But above the way the above is done is you do it on the edge. You do it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. No corners. Okay. Meaning corners, but like literally the corner.
Okay, so If it's one above, just
one and above, it's not double. The low, all the matanas the low are double. What do you mean double? Shtayim shem arba. Okay. So you throw it on the corner and it splashes to both walls. So if I did one above and I'm doing below, how much I'm doing below? I'm doing 4. Because once I'm doing below, shtayim shem arba. Shtayim shem arba, I'm doing 2, which is 4. So I'm doing all 4 below.
What do you need the one above? So
that's what he said. Instead of saying 1 and 4, I'm saying 0 and 4. That's a Cheshbon basis. But anyway, the Gemara is saying maybe the keeper is not telling you that you can avoid them. It's just telling you you can change its location. But how do you can avoid it? Says the Gemara, so if you do that, so I don't have horns. Karners is the 4 horns on top. Because on the Mizbeach you have 4 horns. So based on that, you won't have the 4 horns. Then it says to do Black Karnoisov. What? Because you're doing below. If instead of doing above, you're doing below, so you're not doing the corner, the horns. Says the Gemara, what's the problem? Yes, the Torah is telling you, so the keeper, that yes, you should do on the horns, but if you didn't do it, you're fine. So what's the big question? Omar Ravam, Ezu Dover, Shetzarich, Sholish V'Kiper, Havo Omer, Elu Karnos. Meaning, so he says, look at Loshe Rashi. Ezu Dover Sholish V'Kiper Karnos, Kedamrin Dekol Chad Echad Miet Chad HaKeren, V'kam LeHaKeren Achas L'Akev. Diike Dekol Amad L'Shvina. Di Yoyev Kulamata Kosher, why? Meaning Rashi here, this is going to be a little promac with Tosis. But Rashi is basically saying, if the Torah tells you 3 V'Kippers, means I'm doing -3. So I'm getting from 4 to 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4. If I want to tell you I can avoid completely the top and just move it to the bottom, so why 3 and not 4? Now, Toys wanted to tell me that the reason why Nahavamino, at least at the question of the Gemara, I skipped on the 3rd stage from 2 and 2 to 0 and 4 and now 1 and 3. Toys said because 1 and 3 is really what's the point. But now, according to at least what Rashi is telling us, the Gemara is changing its mind. The Gemara says no, but if you want to tell me the Chiddush is that the Toys want to teach you something, don't do above, do it below. So tell me all 4. The 4 that I'm doing above, I can do it below. But we hold you can't do 4 below. You can't.
This 2 becomes 4.
No, I know. That's the Cheshbon Tosis. Forget about that for now. Say, but you're right. For the question, I'm just going to avoid the question Tosis. The Gemara is just telling us when the Torah is the Torah is not so clear. So the Torah has to tell me what we're talking about. I don't know what the Torah is referring to. If you want to tell me that all 4 above can be below, just say 4 times the keeper. Why I'm saying 3 and not 4? Because I want to tell you I can take out 3 and leave 1. So one wants to get to that conclusion. Says the Gemara, so now, according to this, which is going to be a little bit, or the gears on the side says the opposite. Meaning, maybe it's coming to tell you, you're right. You know why it says 3, not 4? To tell you I need to have at least one of them in the right place. The gears on the side over here is, meaning, really what Tosis was avoiding before. The Gemara is saying, yeah, maybe that's the point. Maybe it means I need to have at least 1 above. You're right. And this really goes back to what Tosis said. What do you say? If you want to tell me if I'm doing 4 anyway below, so what's the point of doing 1 above? Because the Shtayim Shem Arba. The answer is the Torah requires you to do 1 above. The same way we understand now, according to our Gemara, that it means, according to our understanding, what is a Kippur? A Kippur means you don't have to do it at all. I have 4. 1 keeper, I don't have to do 1. 2 keepers, I don't have to do 2. 3 keepers, I don't have to do 1. I have to do 1. 1 I have to do. So maybe what the Torah is telling me, when I have 3 keepers, you have to do all 4. But if you did 3 below and 1 above, it's also okay. I want to tell you the 1 has to be above.
Either before he skipped the 1 and 3, now he's saying
I have to do 1 above. Why do we skip it? Basically, what we said before. Because anyway, I'm doing 4. Yeah, the Torah is telling you the 1 has to be above. 1 must be above.
The Gemara is just coming off of that now?
Yeah. In other words, the Gemara is saying, you're telling me that if it says only 3 keepers, so it must be that I can avoid you. No, it means I can avoid the top and leave the bottom. and the top, the bottom is the top. Says the Gemara, according to that, you have to do 1 above and 3 below. We don't have such a thing. Either all bloods are above, all bloods below. According to what you're telling me, the Torah is telling you that I must do 4 bloods, but 1 can be above and 3 can be below. So I'm spilling the blood. Says the Gemara, that you can't have. It says by Chatos Premiers, you go inside, he does like we said in Yom Kippur. They do 1 below and 7 above. The Gemara understands 1 is in the lower part and the 7 is the above part. Says the Gemara, Kematzliv. My Kematzliv, Machvi Ravyudo, Keming. Meaning, you're not doing it, the way Rashi explains, what does it mean, Kematzliv? Means you're doing all in the same area, but 1 below means that the hand is facing below, and 7 above means the hand is facing above. It's not that you're doing it higher and lower on the Mizbech. It's just the way you shape the hand. Tosis adds over here, the word matzliv means that you don't hit. You just, it's like, when someone was matzliv, he's picking up his hand, but he's not actually putting it down. So I'm just like raising my hand. That's what Tosis wants to say. This is an interesting point, just in the Kudo, we said in the Shemach Shama, is that we have a din that someone who hits his friend is called a Rasha. The Quran says and tells us, not only someone hits his friend, but even someone just picks up his hand to hit his friend, he's also called a Rasha. Right? That's that we learned from the pasuk that Moshe Rabbeinu told Tosam Aviram, Lama takerecha. Didn't say Lama hikiso, you already hit, you're about to hit. Says that, so someone says basically based on based on this. The Tam Yunus of Nuziel says when it says in the pasuk that you do Malchus 40 Malchus, so he says Arboim Yakenu. Says the Targum Yunison, Arboim Yatzlif. Based on our traces, what does Yatzlif means? Yatzlif means to pick up and not to hit. So it means when the Torah says Arboim Yakenu, doesn't mean actual hitting. It just means pick up your hand to hit, and even if you don't hit, similar to Matzah over here, from here Raya, that when you hit somebody, even if you didn't hit the mom, you just picked up your hand, it's already considered to be as if you hit. Anyway. Bring another source. It says that he put on the Tarsh's back 7 times. What does it mean, Tarsh's back, that he sprinkled on the Tarsh's back 7 times? Says on the base, my love up halgedim is back, in the middle of his back, which means part of it is up and part of it is below. So you see, you're splitting the blood. Means like it says, Tahar means the middle of the day. So Tarsh's back means the middle of his back. Tahara means where it's revealed. Like it says when the Shemayim is revealed, which means you make some space above the Mizbeach to remove the ashes, and that's where he sprinkles the blood. So 1 second. You put chatas lamala, but what do you do with the leftovers? Leftovers called shirayim. You spill on the bottom. So you see splitting the blood, some above, some below. Says the Gemara, shirayim no me'akve. I don't have to do shirayim. So the Gemara, shirayim premium di kamandom me'akve. Says, yeah, but shirayim premium that you do in the Mizbeach primi, there's mandom, it says there's me'akve. Says the Gemara, echad mo'koim kamrina. Meaning in one Mizbeach. So, where do you do where do you put the shiraim of chatas primis? Mizbeach chitzon. You put the shiraim on the base. Where's the base? The base is outside. So when you do chatas primis, you take the leftover, go to mizbeach chitzon. So more, something's at below mizbeach primi, and the rest of the blood in the bottom is mizbeach chitzon. That's okay. But in the same mizbeach, partial or partial down, we don't find. So we made them when the Torah tells you it's going to tell you that you don't have to do all 4 zrikas, 1 zrika is enough. Says the Gemara. It goes back to the Mishnah. According to Bet Shammai, the 2 matonos bechatos, you have to have a minimum of 2 matonos. If you do less than 2, you're not yet. So the 2 matonos bechatos, and 1 of all of the Zevachim, you need 1 metiris. If I don't have it, it's not matir. And the faglos, if I have machshavas pigul in any one of them, you ruined it. According to Bisila, it's only 1 of chatos. Very good. According to this, you have over here a Bichamei le the Kula. What's going to be Bichamei le Kula? Because in what case? When you have a pigul in one of them, you have to have pigul in both pulas. According to Bichamei, you have to do pigul only when he's thinking about both zrikas. Why is that so? If you do pigul only in one of them, according to Bichamei, I need to do 2 zrikas mechatos. But let's go back to the Mishnah. What does the Mishnah say? In order for a korban to be kosher, what's the minimum amount? According to Bichamei, mechatos need to have a minimum of 2. We still say mechatos have to have a minimum of 1. Okay. So now, according to Bichamei, if you did pigul only in one, it's not pigul. Because you have to pigul in the whole thing. Rashi says over here the concept of ein mifaglim b'chatzi matir. When you do pigul, it has to be the full pigul, full avodah. There are 4 avodas. It has to be one of the 4 avodas has to be full avodah. By zrika, you have to do 2 zrikas. So you have to have pigul in both in order for it to be pigul. According to Bichamei, just want to say a little different. Another reason why you have to have in both. But according to Bichamei, you have to have both in order to be pigul. So comes your kula according to Bichamei. Because according to Bichamei, if you did pigul only in one, it's not pigul. And according to Bichamei, if you did in one, it's a pigul. It's chayav kares. So Bichamei l'kula. So why is it not mentioned in the list of things that Bichamei are l'kula? Says the Gemara, so the Gemara, no. We were asking not legabe pigul. The kosher came about. One makes the korban kosher. Still say 1 zrika. Shammai would say no, you need 2 zrikas. So who's more makel? Isila. If you did all the kashrus, according to Isila, you did 1 zrika, you're good enough, you're good to go, and you don't have to bring another korban. According to Bichamei, you did 1 zrika on the second one, you have to bring another korban. So Bichamei more machmer. Hi, they got a pigul, they have more of a kula. Yes, there are some times when they have more of a kula. But right now, they have, where the main focus was a place where there were the kula. Where the heel Isila were the kula. Says the Gemara, Omar B'Yechanan, Sholish Matan Shbechatos Einom Bois Balaylo Ubois Machar Miso V'Amalem Bechutz Behem Bechutz Chayav. So the Gemara starts, and the Gemara is going to soon bring a much larger list. The Gemara is going to tell us now, Yisrael, that according to Bichamei, according to Bisila, the 3 extra, 1 matan is required. The other 3 is not required. But is it completely ignored? No. For some things, the 3 other matanos are important, are taken into account. And for some things, not. So right away, we have over here 3 examples of Yechanan. Einam Boas Balaya, the 3 cannot come at night, even though it's not important. Well, not like we have to do it during the day. Ubois Lachamisa, but it could come after the owner died. Because once you did 1 zrika when the owner was alive, you could finish after he died. You do it outside your chayav. So some things you're chayav, some things you're not. Some of them you treat it like the beginning, meaning as if it's required. And some of them you treat it like the end, like shirayim. Chutz, doing it outside. Vilaylo, doing it at night. Zarus, for a zar to do it, not a kohen. The klishares to do it, not a klishares. Karen, to do it, you need to do it on the corner. That's why I use a finger. Kibbutz, the blood spilled on the clothing. It requires kibbutz. Kibbutz is a special way to go to the mikvah, clean it up. Veshirayim, and that whatever is left from the zrika is going to be shirayim. So the din is, right? You did, as we saw before, you did zrika from each one of the kaisers, so each one of them does shirayim. The din is ketchilaso. You treat the 3 matanos like the one. All 4 matanos, you have this list. You can, Azar can't do it, a Kohen can't do it. You can't do it at night. You can't do it outside. All these things. Miso means that it comes after miso. Now, like the first one, it can't come after miso. Lo shario doesn't make the basa mutter because it's already mutter. Lo mifaglo doesn't do pigul. V'lo yaylo gavoi. Right? It means it doesn't. If you go inside, it doesn't make it pasul. The din is kesoifa. So there's some things it's still considered to be matana. Some things that. The way I saw the Yechezkel brings, the list is that the first list is all things that says what do I have to do in order to make this kosher. So I have to do it like regular zrika. But does it cause any psul in the carbon? That it does not. How do you know that? What does minah minah? So we're very, very, very clear, very, very specific. Minah minah refers to how do I know that it does kibus? What is kibus? Kibus means that when the blood of a chatos spills on the clothing of the kohen, it needs to go to a special process of the mikvah. Regular dirt doesn't, but this requires kibus. How do you know that you need kibus from these two mataras? See what it says in the Mishnah: "Tazmin at savar ala beged," spilled directly from the neck of the behemoth to the beged. Ain't a ton kibus. Mina keren and mina yisoid is spilled from the keren after you threw the blood on the horn or on the yisoid on the beast. Ain't a ton kibus. These are the cases you don't need to have kibus. Hamina roy the keren, but if it's in the mazrik and it's about to go to the keren, ton kibus. So for a raya, that's ton kibus. Similar time, ich bin in Söden to kibus, I mean a royal Söden to kibus. I assure as exi proud like zesh kvahuzo. What's yisoid? You throw the blood and the leftover you put on the yisoid. That leftover before it's put on the yisoid, does it cause kibus? No, because you already did that azos. It's only leftover. So even though it says mina yisoid doesn't cause kibus, doesn't mean dafke yisoid. It means even before you went to the yisoid. So the churo, you have your rayo. So how can you say that that's the pshat? So says the Gemara, so no, maybe that we learn that's a Rashi on it. Meaning the Gemara says, no, that's not a problem. Because the reason why I'm telling you that your soy does have kibbutz is according to Shita and Nechemia. The Nechemia holds that the shirayim means leftovers. If you did it outside, you're chayav. So you see that we take shirayim very seriously. You don't look shirayim as if it's over. So who said even the Shabbos said Nechemia liyana Allah midave verim b'dorim, you can't bring it, you can't be makriv it outside. Yeah, kibbutz min Shabbos. Let's say who said that it applies to kibbutz? So more in, we do see it's the same. The Atanya with Avon Tezon Dalef, Dor to unim yisoid to unim kibbutz. If you need to bring your soid, so then you have to do kibus. Umachshav u'mayaz b'hem there's milo. V'amale mehem b'chutz chayav. You do it outside, you chayav. If it's you throw it away, you don't put it in your soid. Ain't doing kibus. There's no kibus. Ain't machshav u'mayaz b'hem there's no milo. V'amale b'chutz pot. That's what the Bryce says. So says the Gemara, man shamis leidom male mehem b'chutz chayav. Who's the one who said that you're not allowed to do it outside? Nechemi. And he says there's kibus and machshav mezbeh. So what all the Gemara is trying to say is, according to Rashi, is that this is all part of the process of the meila, meaning that you see from here that according to Nechemia, you say out you can't do it outside, also you need to do kibus. So your diuk is a good diuk. The diuk is that mashma that if it's something which is going on the mizbech, if it's something that already hit the mizbech, it doesn't cause kibus. Before that, it does cause kibus. Hi, also the ones that are going in on the base, yes, because according to Nechemia, it still requires kibus. Now, Tosfos learns a little differently, and this is part of the question. This is part of the question, and we'll get back to this Be'ez Hashem tomorrow. Back to the question.
From the Karen doesn't need kibus. From the Yisoid doesn't need, but between the Karen and the Yisoid would need kibus.
Yeah.
And then even though once it's on the Karen it doesn't need kibus, then once it's Shirayim it needs kibus again, but until it goes into the Yisoid then it doesn't need kibus. So it's like an in-between stage.
But according to the Nechemia, it does need kibus. Close man did not clothing you through the Shirayim.
It's on the Karen though, you would agree. What does it mean?
Yes.
The Karen if it goes from directly from the Karen onto the Kohen's clothes, he doesn't need kibus.
Right.
But now once it's already
saving blood.
Whatever's left over
does need kibus.
That needs kibus until it goes into the Yisoid and then it doesn't need
right. Exactly. So more right now, let's say we were staying here with Rashi, we'll go back tomorrow, we'll see where Tosfos learns it, because you have to know the Hemshech Gemara to see Tosfos. The Gemara says, You want a bigger raya? The Gemara says, once again, how you can explain the Yisoid? So, well, that's a Nechemia, and not a big problem. So I have a raya, I have a raya, and that's what the Gemara says right now, which is in the middle of the sukkah right now. What is the source that you need kibbutz for something which is in the middle, even though you're not required to do all 4 zrikas, one is enough, but the 3 that you have do require kibbutz. So stop over here.